Hello, Jamie back from Inky&Scrappy for our Let's Start Stamping series. So I'm kind of been playing with maybe some sketches that are already out there. So MFT came back with their sketches, and so I thought it'd be fun to do that one. It's a fairly simple sketch, and then you can kind of bump it up. If you're interested, MFT, I think they have it on their website or their blog with the sketch, but it's basically, you know, a fairly simple one. And we'll go from there and see how to do it. Now, this one you can pick up, there's a bunch of companies that have like the little strip dies out there. If you don't like cutting strips, it would be, you know, one option to go with. I will probably switch over to just cutting them for this card, but I kind of wanted to show you that, you know, you can die cut them and get them that way if you wanted to do it kind of that way. There's many options out there. They come in different sizes, different widths, different lengths. I think that one is about 6 inches. It's not quite 6 inches, but it'll do an A2 card the long way or the short way, horizontal or vertical, if that's your jam. So I'm using the Doodle Designs Cute and Crafty paper pack. I really just kind of wanted to use the pinks on this one, and because they're like colored, I kind of can just switch them out. I'm going to bring in one pattern paper for sure. I might switch it over and do a heart one, you know, because if we're doing Valentine's Day cards. But a lot of times I like to use a paper pack for my color inspiration or my color palette. So I had this one done before for my Cute and Crafty. This is with the old Oohoo numbering system, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 number system that they used to have. I will figure out with the 60 and the 60 Oohoo markers and the 36 skin tones my colors for this one and get it close to matching. It's not going to be exactly, but that's kind of where my base is for my color palette. And then, of course, I think I'm going to bring in the MFT Our Story. I like the little girl with the book, and then also the Magical Dragon one is kind of cute too. You could definitely bring in that one from MFT. I don't think either of these are available anymore through MFT, but you know, there's multiple brands out there that you can kind of play with what you want. Don't feel you need to use this exact set. Anything will work with this layout design, and so keep that in mind when you are creating. So to start, I'm just going to use my paper cutter here to start with, and we'll get kind of the base of the card done, and then we'll work on image coloring. So I'm just going to start by, well, let's start here because then I can go from there. I just kind of want to line it up. So this is at like 2 1/4 inches on this one. So if I want a 1/4 inch stripe or if I want a 1/2 inch stripe, this is kind of where I'm going to start pulling my stripe width from. So because it's like a 3/4 inch, it looks like each of these is about 3/4 of an inch. So if I want to get 2 stripes out of there, wait, we're going to have to go to eighths, huh? I can't do a full half, so 3, 4, 5/8, no, 3/8, 5/8, 5/8 would be 3/8. That's probably what I want. So 3/8 of an inch. This is where those strips kind of come in handy. Just saying. And they don't have to be the same width at all. I'm just going to try to get them fairly close to the color line, so each line kind of has their own color. I don't know if the other one would be easier with this one or not, but yeah, here's hoping that they're mostly cut straight. No promises. The other option you have, if you don't have the like strip dies, if you do have the sentiment strip dies, like the Tailored Expression ones that we talked about in the past, you can also get away with using those and then just kind of piecing your background together. I've done it before. It's kind of fun. Kind of gives it a new little look. This is going to be way off, but you know, we'll just make it work. Maybe. Come on, you can do it. I think we'll use this side on that one just because it's got the white on it, and then I'll cut this one down to somewhere in here. So it's probably easier on a slide cutter than with this one. Just saying. All right, so I kind of have my color strips here. Let me grab my card front. And you can do this on an A2 piece of paper to start with, but I'm gonna try to make it a little bit simpler for myself. So first I kind of want to figure out how big my stamp is, if it's gonna fit. I think I just want to do it over here, leave a little bit. Well, let me fold it this way. Whoops. And I'm gonna come in with the bone folder to make that crease a little bit better. It'll lay flatter for me. So I'm thinking if I just bring in the little girl here, I think that'll work. And if I go up a little bit further, I can do my sentiment either right under her. So maybe that's one that I want to do right away, is add that sentiment in there. All my stories include you. Or I love that you can always read me. You could also do it on the other side, but I think we're going to go this way. Let's do have a, I'm missing some birthday cards, even though, I mean, you know, I want to do a love theme one. I think I'm going to do all my favorite stories include you. Alrighty, so let's make sure that this is going to still be kind of here. We could definitely move this one up and over here instead. So maybe I'll wait with that until after. I think I like it up and over instead. So to start with, let's find my colors here. So just kind of measuring across, you can definitely use score style tape. You could do, let's see if I have, well, I probably won't be able to get it on straight. Let's be honest here. Okay. So I'm just going to use liquid glue to kind of add these on. You could do score tape on here all the way across if you wanted to. You know, it's totally up to you. I suppose if I use the lines on my grid mat, it might be helpful to get it semi-straight. Of course, that would mean kind of being straight. The first one is the hardest, I guess. I don't know. All right, so we'll start with that one. That one looks like it's the next color up. So I'm gonna do my heart one on this one. And you can use, this is a great way to use up paper scraps, or even pattern paper would be kind of pretty to add in here. Kind of go with, you can go with monochromatic using the same color theme, or you can definitely go, I think I want to switch this one to this with that rope. Definitely don't worry about, you know, it being totally the same color. You can do rainbow, would be really pretty with this one. There is a ton, I'm sure there is a ton of inspiration on MFT's site for this one because it's their card sketch, but it's basically kind of a layout here. Oh, well, I can't use that one because it's not wide enough. Alrighty, such is life. Do I want to go? I really wanted to use that one. I suppose I have another sheet in here. I was trying to use, but then I switched out my layout, so, you know, such is life. Let's see if I have that one in a full sheet. And you could totally cheat and just use something like this, which already has all of your strips on it. That's that one. I need the washy looking one. There we go. This paper pad does not want to come apart. They're like extra glued in there, I guess, today. Or for that one. Let's bring this one back in. Did I measure? No. I'm just going for it, calling it good. And the light pink. And then I will flip it over, and I'm just going to use the scissors to cut off the side things or the overhang. You could put it in your paper trimmer if you choose, but I find this is just easier. To cut it from the back side. And then we have our strips of colored paper there, kind of for our base. Throw those away. Just me making a mess. Okay. So there we have our base. Let's add in I don't know where I want my sentiment yet. We'll go with, I think we're going to put her here. And we could put a little cat there, or we could put the little dog. I think I'll put the little dog because he's facing this way. So I think we'll do that one. You could definitely bring in, you know, the light through from the top if you kind of want to do a full scene. You can kind of add in whatever you want there, but I think I'm just going to go with those two images. Let me grab a piece of scratch paper, or not scratch paper, but an odd piece, because I have the dies for this one, so I don't have to run it through the Brother Scan and Cut. So I'll set that one off to the side, and we'll bring in our our stamp platform. Wow. Kind of layout. I like to lay out my stamps where I want them on my paper, especially when I'm using an odd size sheet, and that way it's just, you know that they're going to fit where you want them. Holding those down with magnets, and then I'm going to ink this one up with Fawn Jet Black ink, because I do plan on doing some alcohol coloring with this one. And I got good coverage with one, so I think we're going to go with it. Sorry you missed part of it. I wasn't really enough. My camera must be like high today. Okay, so let me pick out my colors and then we'll start coloring. So I picked out some of my colors from the 60. Most of them are from the 60. There might be, I think they're actually all from the 60. There might be a couple from the skin tones, but I will get in them as I use them. And let's zoom in a little bit here so you can see the coloring as we go. So because my background is mostly going to be pink, I kind of want to use pink sparingly on this one. I pulled out these 3. I don't know if I'm going to use all of them, but R585, RV610, and RV210. I will say that the RV610 looks really funky and it dries different than it colors, so don't be too surprised with that one. I was like, whoa, and then I was like, oh, it's not that bad. So I'm going to start with, I think her shirt, well, maybe I'll do her book. I'll do the book in kind of that bright pink blend to start with. I haven't colored this one for quite a while, but I'm gonna go with kind of darker towards the bottom, maybe where her hand is. There might be a shadow. The book spine. Do I want to do the book spine? I'll do book spine. And then I'm gonna go in with my second tone. So I'm gonna try to get this one to blend with that first one. I'm just going over it a little bit. I'm not going over the whole thing with this one, just because I want to kind of keep the darker part darker. So, but I'm going over it lightly, so you'll kind of see where that color is starting to merge. And then I'm going to go over it. If I keep it dark, maybe we'll go over this one more time. So now I'm going to go over the whole thing, whoops, a second time here, as I color outside the lines like a kindergartner. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And I'm just going to color that whole, because that middle part is pretty little. I just went over it once in the middle. And so there we get that pink blend. So now I need to do a couple of other areas pink, just because I don't have a whole lot of colors in. I'm trying to keep my color palette limited. Let's do her socks here. And then her little headpiece there, and we're going to come in and just do that lighter shade. So I'm just using the lighter 2 of that blend at the moment. And then I'm going to go over this one. And then I'll do one more again. And you could definitely just do 1 color blends on this one. 3 layers on the darkest, 2 layers on the middle kind of tone that I get, and of course 1 layer on the lightest tone. If that's, you know, what you want to do, or if that's what you're kind of looking for. I don't want to do her shirt pink because that's gonna, okay. I will take the lightest and I'm gonna add some pink to the dog's nose, and then I'll go over it with some brown later and to his cheek as well as her cheek. I don't want pink in her nose. Okay, so those were my pink shades, or my red shades: Vivid Red, Vivid Pink, and Pastel Pink. And then let's see. So I have like a tealy color here, so I'm going to use Ice Blue and Turquoise Blue. So G482 and G191. I wanted to use my dark blue for the chair, and I think I can use this one kind of for her shirt. I'm just going to have matching jammy pants, I think. I mean, you know, if we're going to be sitting and reading, we're going to have matching clothes, right? I don't know. It sounded good. And so I'm going to go in with that lighter tone, color over that first tone a little bit, making that second layer, and then of course going over the full layer. I think we'll do that blue. Okay, so I have her colored for the most part. I think that's all I'm using the teal for at this point. You know, I might decide later that I want to bring in something else. So for my blues, I'm going to use B659, B575, and B290, kind of in, you know, how I normally do them. So cobalt blue, brilliant blue, and sky blue. So I'm going to start with my darkest here, and I'm kind of just going to outline where she's sitting, because obviously it's going to be in shadow here. At least, you know, that's what I would think. You'd have shadow around where it's probably pressed in a little bit, or you're going to have a little bit darker area there. And just to make coloring easier, I'll kind of bring that out to kind of contain that one. Do I want to do, let's see, and then the seat. So let's go, I'm just going to outline this one. I think I want to bring that seat and make it a little bit lighter, but we'll go into the creases there. Also where the arms touch the chair here. And then let's just start with that one, and then I'll come and do that bigger piece in a little bit. So I'm going to come in with the brilliant blue, kind of go over, just barely touching my first color of blue in there. Bringing that out a little bit. And the same with this one. I'm going to actually end up going over probably most of that dark blue that I colored in there. And then I'm just going to go in with the same color with a second layer over the first layer of that lighter blue, working that one into the darker shade. And then of course the same goes for the cushion. And we'll bring in this blue for those little details on the book on that one. Now, let's see, how do I want to do? I'm not going to go with the darkest shade on this. I'm going to keep this a little bit lighter. Go a second layer with that one. So I kind of added in another layer, but not totally a second layer over the whole thing. I'm trying to add a second layer over my first layer of color, and then because I decided to kind of bring it in a little bit more, I'm going to kind of go over that one and out a little bit more. I don't know how it's going to look. We can always go with a second or third layer on that one. So now I'm going to bring in that sky blue. I'm going to cheat and use the bigger end. If you kind of color with them enough, you kind of get the feel of where your tip ends on these, and it just makes this part a little bit faster. I like going faster. This is probably one of those that if you have the brush tip, it would come in handy, just because it's a larger area. And then I'm going to go over that one more time here, kind of even that all out. You don't have to get right to the line on this, because it is going to kind of, at least on my piece of paper, it's kind of bleeding out just a teeny tiny bit. A lot of times when it's a really thin image, you'll get that bleed out just a little bit. And I'm going to come back in with my darker one and kind of hit the outside of this one again, just to kind of darken it. I don't know if I like my coloring here, but it is what it is. Okay. Let's see. So those were my blues. For my skin or my hair tone and for the puppy, I'm going to use Morin number E477 and Buttercup E294. I'm pretty sure that one is darker than this one. Yes, barely, but a little bit. So I'm going to go in with the Morin first. And for hair, I kind of like to do it and make it more of a brush stroke, more streaky, not so blended. I guess I usually do down on the bottom and kind of on the part, so you have your highlight is going to be in that area and that area. And then I'll bring this one in and just kind of follow that curve a little bit, add some streaks in her hair, and then I'm going to come in with that lighter tone and go over the whole thing. See, this is where I go, oh, maybe this one wasn't, I don't know. They're not exactly the same color, but they're pretty close, I think. Not me running late for the farm today. It's all good. Okay. And then for her little curls, I'm kind of going to do just the base is probably going to be darker and then kind of make it lighter for the outside. And feel free to switch those around, make it darker, lighter, you know, you can use one color and you'll probably be just fine. I'm going to come in again with my undertone, or what I felt was my darker of the two shades, and kind of just add in some streaks again, just to give it a little bit more of the hair look. And then for the puppy, do we want to try it? Well, we can try it with this one first. And then, so for him, I'm going to kind of go, I'm going to start with my Buttercup yellow. Maybe I will just make him the lighter shade of brown. Kind of where he meets the dirt, where he meets the ground, and then where I think there's going to be a shadow or a shade in there. And then I'm just going to come in with my marker and kind of go over that whole area. And just kind of one and done it on the whole thing. And you can definitely color in the whole area first and then go back in and add those highlights in if you're unsure of where you want those lowlights to be. Try to make sure that you're working wet on wet if you want it to blend well. The other thing is you can let it dry and then come back in and add. So I feel like it kind of, maybe I went over it too many times, so it kind of bled in a little bit too much. So I'm just going to come back in once it's dried a little bit and add another layer on top. And that'll give me a little bit darker color variation. Now for his nose, I just want to come in with probably a gray. Let's see here. I know, let's see, I think, I don't have my colors right in front of me. So I think VG042 or 43 is in that 60 pack or the skin tone. So I'm just going to come and hit that with his nose. You could definitely go black, but I kind of wanted the pink to kind of shine through a little bit there. I'll probably use the brown on the chair legs yet. Or maybe I could use that teal. I'll use that teal. Okay, for her skin tone, I'm going to go with YR295, which is salmon pink, and E494, which is pastel peach. So of course the salmon is going to be my darker tone here. And just kind of adding that line in here. Her nose, maybe up her nose a little bit to kind of give her face a little bit of a shape. And then of course around the hairline. think we're good there. And then I'll come in with the lighter tone, and I'm going to go over the whole area, so it is going to bleed that one out a little bit. It's not going to be as dark this way. Kind of going around the outside first, letting it dry a little bit, and then going back and going over the whole area one more time. I should have gone with a darker hair color, I think. Once it dries, I think it'll be all right. Well, maybe. I mean, I picked some really good colors that go really good together all the way through there. Anyways, so I'm going to come in and do the chair legs in that teal color. I just think it needs some more teal in it. I'm just going to go with the darkest shade and add that to my little chair legs. I don't like her hair. Let's go in with, I think Hazelnuts is in that one. Let me go E 533. Yes, and this is like dark brown. So I'm gonna bring this one in. So don't be afraid to go back over, maybe you don't like the color. If you go darker in the same color family, you'll be fine, especially if you let it dry a little bit first. You're gonna not get too much, you'll get bleed through. It won't bleed outside the lines, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Let's see what my other brown tone is going to be on this one. E40. E340 is burnt sienna. So I'm going to go over that one with the burnt sienna, which is a little bit lighter brown than the other. I just thought her skin tone matched her hair color way too closely. Now for the book, you could probably go with that pastel peach. You could go in with a neutral gray color. I think there is BG38 in there, or maybe if I go with the right side here. I need to kind of, you know, push that pink back into, so it doesn't look like I have pink pages. And so I'll just add that to the book to kind of, that's the only reason I colored that. Otherwise you could have just left it as is. So I did kind of switch my colors up a little bit there, but there we go. So now I will find the matching dyes, and we will, there's the puppy, and there is that one. Let me zoom the camera back out here. Actually, I'll line them up, zoom, die cut them, and zoom it back out. So let's just add those here. This one does not want to come off today. Oh, washi, sometimes you drive me insane. It loves sticking to itself. Usually nothing else. Okay. So I have those placed. I'll run them through the die cut machine and I'll be right back. So we have them die cut out from the die cut machine. I'll put those back away. And then we'll bring back in that card base that we've been working with. And she's gonna fit right there. You could definitely go higher up if you want her to go off the top of it. You can keep her on your little color strips there. And the puppy, I think we're gonna do the puppy in front. And put her up just a little bit, kind of add some of that height in there. I think we'll pop the puppy up right about there. You could definitely add some text like to the front of her book. Lawn Fawn has this one, you know, you could do the fairy tales. There's some little book names in here. I love books. I think there's a couple of other sets that I have that have really teeny tiny little like things that might work on the front of a book. Don't be afraid to add those in as you see fit, or whatever works with your scene if that's what you are working with. Okay, I want my stamp set so I can add the sentiment. Let's see, I said it somewhere, right? Okay, I think we're going with all my favorite stories include you. So I think with her being up here just a little bit, we can kind of bring this in about right. Whoops, it's sticking to me. So bring her up a little bit with the puppy there. You would definitely go here and kind of get your eye to go that way. I think I'm going to go this way and kind of balance out the heavy one side and go that route. Okay, so I'm going to bring back in my stamping platform. Bring her in a little bit more. This one probably would have worked this way just as well as the long way here. It might have even worked a little bit better the long way, or the vertical instead of horizontal. But so I like the placement there, so I'm going to pick that up and try to make sure it's mostly level. I say that as I probably make it more crooked than it already was. Have you met me? I'm really good at crooked. It's kind of how I go. Yeah, that looks like really crooked. Alright. I haven't stamped it yet, so let's try to make it a little less crooked. Top of head, you know. So I'm going in with the VersaFine Onyx Black. Should give me a once and done sentiment, and it looks good. So we're good with that one. I'm going to pop this out. Try not to get my ink smudged finger onto my card front. And then we are going to glue her down. And I think we're going to pop the puppy up just a little bit. So there, and then let's grab, what do I have for foam? Well, we'll do these. These are really thin foam little squares, but they should work for this one. Just me, still trying to work through my loads of adhesives from back in the day. I mean, you know. I found out I'm not the only one that like stockpiles adhesive and foam adhesive. It's kind of how it goes. It's all good. So we have the little puppy down there and her. You could definitely add some gems to this one if you want. I think some cute little hearts would be kind of cute. Let's see if I can open up my sequence drawer. So I'm going to bring in, I think, just the pink ones that are in here. They're not really the right color. Let's do, that's a funky one, but okay. Let's do just do 3. I think we'll do the white ones. Do I want to do white up here or pink? Oh, decisions. I like the pink one up here, I think. Maybe. It's cold. The wax tip is not picking up like it should. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. And there we go. So there's our completed card for today using that MFT sketch that they put out. So what is it? The 3rd week in January of 2025. So if you're looking for it, it'll be on their blog, but it's basically just a card front with the little strips. That's their layout for it. So you can kind of modify it as you see fit. You could just do paper strips and a sentiment. Stamping above, you do the whole scene thing. I've seen some, there's been quite a few of them that have come across my feed this week for just, you know, just some MFT cute stamps on there, just using one little colored image and, you know, kind of doing it that way with some sentiment of some sort. Don't feel you have to stamp your sentiment right on your card base. You could definitely do one of the strips. You could do wider or thicker and do your sentiment in there. If you did, you know, a 1-line one, you could definitely throw that in there and kind of work your image around it. It would be really cute as well. So don't be afraid to go get inspired by some of those pre-done card sketches from craft companies. A lot of them do those types of things. I think this one is like a sketch challenge. I think there's also a color challenge that they do. And so don't be afraid to do those. I usually like run away the other direction from challenges most of the time, just because I ran a challenge blog and it got stressful and I got less creative as time went on, because, you know, when you're forced to do something, it's totally different than when you're enjoying doing something. But I like how the colors on this one kind of go, and the blue and the teal kind of pop off of that pink. So I suppose I have to go and do, you know, my real job now. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day and keep getting inky. Bye. All right, so let's just recap. I did finish the inside of this one off camera, and then I did do a couple of extras. I had a whole bunch of these already colored up, so I was just trying to use what was in my stash of colored images and kind of get, you know, get some of them up. So here's the one we did together today, and then I just did a Happy Galentine's on the inside with a little stack of books in pink. This one I don't have a sentiment on yet. I haven't decided what I want to do for the sentiment yet. Well, I'll, you know, figure it out eventually. So here I just did a novel, have a novel birthday, so kind of doing that same thing but putting that sentiment down below. And, you know, there's a lot of, for me, it's a lot of white space. This one's not necessarily straight across. I maybe have, you know, some, yeah, well, we'll just say it happens. I don't have an inside on that one yet. So this one is very similar to that first one. I added the little light in. I just added a black Sharpie with a ruler to kind of extend my light pole there, because it was, you know, this big. And then of course popping up the cat and the dog, and then adding the inside sentiment again. This is the one that I said you can kind of use strips, like your sentiment strips, to kind of get this one to go. So kind of pulling them in. It's a great one to use your scraps, kind of pulling from here and there. And that one again just has the galentines on the inside. And then this is probably my favorite one, because, you know, it's got the little dragon on the bottom, and I think that's kind of hilarious. I'll probably add a little glitter to his wings yet. And then our friendship is magical, and then Happy Galentine's on the inside. So there's a couple of more examples for you, either, you know, that way or the other way. And I think I pulled up. So the original sketch looked like that. So if that's what you were looking for, so it's just the strips of paper going across, and you can kind of, you know, go up a little bit higher. I went fairly low on them, so that's up to you. But I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Keep getting inky. Bye.